23 questions with Alexander. 23 questions where I talk and you listen to me.
What up? It's Alexander 23 and welcome to 23 Questions. Pew, 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 pew. My guest today is an artist who is as talented as he is hilarious. A brilliant songwriter who can somehow sing about dark things while still keeping it light. So give it up for my very good friend, Noah Kahan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. It's an absolute honor to be here.
Are you kidding me? I'm so happy that you could make it work, and I'm going to dive right into question number one because it's how are you doing today?
Here we go.
Do you hear me?
I thought you said that's because it's how we do things. Okay, so how are you doing?
That's how we do things today. No, question one.
Question one, bro.
Dude, it's going to be a long 23 questions.
23 of these motherfuckers? All right. I'm doing well, man. I just woke up about an hour ago. Drinking some Airbnb coffee that the last guest left here out here in LA. But
how generous.
Doing good, man.
Nice. Good. All right. Question number two. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in between Stratford, Vermont, and Hanover, New Hampshire. So I kind of like the border of Vermont, New Hampshire. Cool. Small town life. You know, my town that I live in now that I kind of spent my first 10 or so years in has like 1,000 people, and the next town has a few thousand more. So super small. Nice. Yeah, beautiful, like New England, like cold in the winter, really nice in the summer. Pretty cool childhood, honestly, I have to say.
Sounds good. Question number three, where do you live now?
I live still at home because of the pandemic, but I am moving back to New York City in the spring when things start to kind of open up a little bit when I get vaccinated.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, question number four, what was your favorite part about growing up where you grew up?
I think what I loved most about where I grew up was the access to like the outdoors was really nice. I feel like I didn't realize how like restrictive like living in a big city is until I like was in New York. I was like, I can't I have to drive 45 minutes to go see like grass. Like that, this sucks.
It's crazy.
Like,
yeah.
I grew up in like massive like acreage, and I was able to run around. Like we had dogs running around, and I don't know. I was really lucky to be able to like be outside because I think otherwise I probably would have gotten like lost in like the internet, and then ended up becoming an incel, and then and probably ended up, you know.
I could see that for you.
You know, a lot of people say that they could see that for me. And I do take that as an insult. I think
as you should. It's a terrible thing, but I feel the same way about where I grew up. Just like being able to be outside whenever I wanted, all the time, doing stuff.
Totally.
But question number five: what was your least favorite part about growing up there?
I think I didn't realize this was my least favorite part until later in life when I realized like the effect it had on me. I think being in a small town, like you're surrounded by the same people your entire life. Like my school was really small, and like you know, the reputation that you have and like the way you present yourself like kind of follows you in a way. And like I was always kind of like an obnoxious class clown, and I feel like I never got to like get myself away from that reputation. It always kind of followed me. I had siblings. My older brother was like the same way, and so like I would go to high school or middle school, and everyone would be like, "Oh, you're his brother." Then immediately I was like, fuck, I'm this guy. And then like I felt like I kind of became that because they thought I was like that. And totally. I felt like that really followed me around. And I wasn't able to kind of like escape this one social scene, which not that it was anyone's fault, it's just the way it was. But I wish I had a little more diversity in like the things I was able to do growing up. It was very much like play a sport, you know, wear like pastel shorts and like a Vineyard Vines shirt, and like, you know, that's kind of the way I grew up, and sometimes I wish I could have had a little more diversity.
Well, that's fair. All right, I feel that. I feel a similar way. All right, question number six, though. And this is always very hard for me to answer for some reason, but what have you been listening to lately?
This is an impossible question to answer. The government should
so
study
hard.
It like disarms people, dude.
It your brain just wipes everything from its memory just immediately when asked.
I know, and then I just like default to like, I don't know why I always like Maroon 5. I just go save. I just save Maroon 5 no matter what's happening.
What era? What era do you even have in mind?
Not even songs about Jane.
All
dude.
of it.
I'm talking Payphone Kendrick Lamar
Mm,
feature Maroon
of
5.
course, the golden
Um,
era.
yeah. I've been listening to a lot of uh, this band Pine Grove.
Nice.
This girl Waxahachie is like really great. Hachi
I
is
don't
really
know her.
great.
I gotta check her out.
Um, she's really great. She's kind of in like this, almost like kind of in the Phoebe Bridgers, like Lucy Dacus world. It's a little more up tempo and high energy. Like it kind of has that like really personal, like cutting, like just emotionally devastating lyric with
Mhm.
like really upbeat melodies, which I really like. Is something that I like really been trying to do with my music. And
Cool.
yeah, those two are great. Phoebe Bridgers, great. And something that you should check out that I really think is cool, dude, is this dude Ethan Cash. Cash. He has a song called "Room" that
Oh,
I
I'll
think that
check it
you would
out.
really like. It actually reminds
I
me a
thought you
little
were
bit of.
winding up for a fucking joke there. I was like, who is he gonna riff right now? Like
Someone
you'd
that
be
would
like,
really
is Maroon
intrigue.
5?
Yeah, someone that
Have
you
you
would
ever
really
heard Wonder
like
by
Maroon
Maroon
5.
5? All right, moving on. Question number 7. What you been watching lately?
I am watching right now. I've been watching Last Chance U, the basketball
Mm.
one. Have you seen
Oh, I
that?
haven't seen it yet, dude, but I just saw like a promo for it. I gotta check it out.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. 'Cause I love the way like they filmed the Last Chance U, the football ones. I think it's really interesting.
Hmm.
But like basketball, as you know, is a sport that I like. I'm more interested in. And you've seen me
Hmm.
play. Does it
As we'll get to, we'll get to that.
translate to the court?
We'll definitely get to that.
You need to. I mean, you kind of do a lot of this already on your Instagram, but like you're really fucking good at basketball. Like you need to start like doing more of that. Like challenging
Dude,
other people one on ones, bro. Like,
I've been challenging people on Twitter. No one wants to go. No one wants to hoop. But we'll get
dude.
there.
Oh yeah, man. We'll get there.
We'll
We'll
get
get
there.
there.
Yeah. But question number 8.
Yeah,
Who?
that's great.
Oh wait. Yeah. Okay, that's a good answer. Sorry. Question number 8. Who are like, I hate kind of the term heroes, but like who kind of like inspired you along the way to become kind of who you are today and do what you do today?
Yeah, there's so many artists that I feel like I have tried
And also,
to.
it doesn't have to only be artists too. It could be anyone.
Okay. Are you trying to get me to say Maroon 5 again? I feel like you're leading me
Yes,
that
really
direction.
badly. I just know that you talk about Adam Levine in private so much that I feel like you could just like kind of admit it publicly.
I would lift my shirt. I have a massive Adam Levine tattoo. It's actually disgusting. It's scarred. Uh, yeah. So there's a lot of folks. I mean, I got to say my mom first. She
Mm.
like my mom was an author and just a
Oh, that's
brilliant
awesome.
writer. And like, without her growing up, I don't think I would have had. Um, I don't think I would have had the same lesson in songwriting and writing in general. So my mom was
Hmm.
always a really, really great person to bounce ideas off of. I'd say Cat Stevens, Yusuf Islam, from a young age was
Hmm.
really influential for me. Like just the way he wrote and the way he was able to speak about peace and sometimes, keep things really simple but say profound things. I really appreciated. Contemporaries like Justin Vernon and Hosier um, and artists in that kind of caliber that are kind of like paving the way for like the folk indie space in a really
Totally.
beautiful way. Paul Simon, gotta throw it back to Paul Simon, just like
Uh,
revolutionizing songwriting and production, and those are guys that I really, really look up to. And on the writing side, like in terms of like books, I mean, I really always credit John Steinbeck, who wrote East of Eden. I read
hmm.
that when I was like just starting the music industry and just got out
Hmm.
of high school, and like it was so profound and beautiful, and it made me think like that's the gold standard of writing, the gold standard of prose, and that's where I wanted to go. So those guys
Oh, dude,
are and my mom are all people that play a huge role.
incredible, incredible answer. I love that. Um, which kind of brings me in. So what? Give me the spark notes on kind of your musical journey of like where it started and how you got to kind of where you're at today.
Yeah, so I when I was in high school, I was like recording like kind of pop songs with my buddy who produced them into like kind of like EDM, like almost like Avicii era shit, like kind of like folk EDM vibes. And
Hmm.
yeah, the songs were doing kind of well on SoundCloud, but I wasn't a very good like self promoter. Like I didn't want to. I just hated like being like check my music. I was always like really worried that people would think it was dumb or like that I sucked or whatever. And I was like, super putting. I mean, putting yourself out there like it's hard.
Hmm.
And so I never marketed myself, and eventually I put another song out called Sync, and like overnight it got like thousands of plays on SoundCloud. I guess like someone must have put it in a playlist or something that like got
Hmm.
got a lot of visibility. And this manager, like I was on my way to soccer practice, and this manager hit me with an email or a SoundCloud DM. Was like, hey, like I manage Owl City and Young the Giant and Dispatch, and like we want to like come to Vermont and meet you, and like we love your music, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, honestly, my first thought was that he was probably a pedophile, dude. So I didn't respond. And so I was like, I can't
Really?
respond to this guy. Like he's hitting me up and trying to come to Vermont. Like I'm 16 years old or 17 years old. Like no way.
Did you tell your
My
parents?
mom was also like, yeah, this guy probably dangerous person. So I didn't respond for a little while. And eventually I was like, dude, like this guy could be legit. I just got to take my chance. I responded. He came to Vermont or to New Hampshire at the time. And we met in a public place. And he
Safe.
was a great guy, really smart dude. And he kind of like took me to LA and we recorded some songs. And I'd eventually like auditioned for Republic Records. And they were like, yeah, sure, have a record deal. And that's kind of where everything started.
Fire. Love that story.
I was lucky.
I'm glad
man.
he did not turn out to be a pedophile too.
Me too.
Kind of
Me
a
too.
double win. All right. Well, you ended up where you're at. And what's your favorite part about being an artist? Like what aspect kind of
Oh, man.
fulfills you the most?
It's all really, I'm such a privileged person, man, to be able to do this job. I think my favorite part is probably like seeing, I mean, this is going to sound like cliche, just seeing myself like make a difference in someone's life, like with a lyric or with a performance or, you know, just like seeing like I read my YouTube comments a lot, like when I'm having a tough day and like people like really seem to resonate sometimes with some of the lyrics, and that like was what I always valued as when I was a kid, like a lost kid listening to music, like feeling like I was heard by the artist, like that guy goes through that too, or that girl goes through that too. And
Totally.
I'm going through that means I'm okay. And like that when I can do that for somebody else, that's when I'm like the most fulfilled and the most proud of what I'm able to do.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. I definitely feel the same way. I
Yeah.
definitely can relate to that. But what's your least favorite? What you say?
But I think your music definitely does that for people, dude. Like
Thank you, man. I really hope so.
It really does, bro.
No, I think that it does sound cliche, but it is really the best part of just like feeling that what you did matters, because I think when you make it, it's for you, and then once you put it out, you just can really just hope that it helps as many other people as possible, because it already did the part where it helps you. You know, that was the writing part, at least for me. That's how I feel.
Right. Then you let the song go, and it's somebody else's.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly. But on the other side, what's your least favorite part about being an artist?
That's a great question. I think my least favorite part about being an artist is like, I mean, for me, like I really struggle with like, you're really great with it, so I don't know if you ever struggle with this, but for me, like the kind of constant social media grind is really difficult, and like
I think you're really great at it too, by the way.
Thanks, man. It just takes a lot of energy.
I'm not saying it's easy, yeah, but
yeah, thank you, and I do work really hard. It's been a long journey of like getting myself to a place where I feel like I'm kind of finding my way with it. I think it just like requires a lot of like mental energy and emotional strength, and like I a lot of times find myself like comparing myself to everybody and like seeing how I'm doing, and I'm like not worrying about the right things, and I can be distracting for me. You know, it's a great tool, but I feel like it just requires so much time. I wish I had known like before I got the music industry, like you need to have a plan for your whole thing, like your branding, like this is how it's gonna be. I kind of thought that I could just like post a photo every like 4 months and then get by.
Yeah.
It's not the way it works. So social media has been the biggest challenge for me so far, I think, for sure.
No, I feel you. And it's definitely not like what you thought you were signing up for when you were like, I want to be an artist, you know, because obviously it wasn't always like this. So I feel that. But so my next question actually has to do with social media, because I feel like I find myself using different platforms for kind of different parts of my personality. Do you feel the same way? And if so, like, how do you differentiate between like which side of Noah you're showing on different platforms?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, so I think it's tough. So like Twitter is like for me the most reactive, like it's the most reactionary things I'm going through. So if I'm feeling like if I'm in like a sad mood, I'll literally just like post like feeling like shit today, or like I mean it's kind of attention seeking, but I'll post like feeling like shit today, or I'll post like a song lyric that's sad. And I don't know, it just helps me like people like my fans will like respond to it with like seriousness, and like that makes me feel like, oh, they're like hearing me. And then if I'm feeling like I see something funny, like on the subway in New York, or like I think about something like if I'm in an airport and some funny shit happens, and I'll post it on Twitter, like just like kind of off the dome. And then Instagram is like more curated, so like I think a lot more about what I'm posting, what I'm saying. And I think like Twitter is like the most like emotional response social media I have, and Instagram is a little more thoughtful and maybe a little more cryptic in a way. I don't want to like give too much away.
Yeah, I
And
feel that.
I've been using TikTok too, and like TikTok is just good for unreleased music, dude. Like, because it's like it gets people super hyped about unreleased songs. Like, it's a great
Totally.
tool to like just like post a song you've been working on and that you maybe don't think is good, and then like, oh shit, people like this, and it like totally like makes you want to like continue to work on the tune and maybe release
Yeah,
it.
dude, totally. I feel honestly pretty much the same way about all those things you just said.
Right.
And I think that's what makes Twitter so kind of like fun sometimes, is just how like impulsive it can be.
Your Twitter's electric, dude. I love reading your tweets.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. All right, back to the songwriting though. Like, how have you noticed your kind of songwriting perspective and or process shifting over time as you've been doing it for longer?
Um, um, I think at the core it's the same. Like I am like when I'm really like feeling something, I'll put it out in the song. And I'll write it and it feels like it comes out really naturally. Like, so I'm like, it's been on my mind and it'll just come out. I still try to access that like method of songwriting. But like we were talking about before this started, like I have trouble like writing every day. Like every song to me, it's such a precious thing. And like when I write every day and I just do it just to do it, or I do something or I write a song and it's not good, or like it doesn't feel like me, like it really hurts. So I've
Mhm,
been working on like being okay with not making like a fucking banger every time I sit down to write a song, and
mhm.
being okay with like having it not mean something immediately to me, and letting that process like take its time. So I think just being more patient is something I need to work on. I try to keep my biggest goal is like to keep my songwriting consistent, as consistent as it was when I started to where I'll finish, because I know that's like my biggest asset, I think. So yeah, trying to keep it
Totally.
consistent but also not being impatient.
Love that. Um, 14, what was the process of making your EP Cape Elizabeth? Definitely curious about that one and how it came together.
Yeah. So like I was in, like I said, in New York for the year before, coronavirus hit,
Mhm,
and I went back home. I thought I'd be home for like a couple weeks. Um, Obviously, that didn't happen.
mhm,
So I was at home, like kind of like I was writing all this pop music in New York. And I got home, and I'm like in the forest basically. I live in like a big tree farm, and
mhm.
I was like playing like these kind of like little folky things that I've been riffing on like on these Instagram lives, and people really responded well to them and like really liked them. And I, kind of started flushing them out, and like the confidence I got from people responding well to those songs was like, oh shit, this is kind of cool. My manager was like, hey, why don't we record some of these tunes? Like, give yourself a week, go record them. I was like, I don't want to overthink it. I don't, if like I could spend months and months recording these songs and making them perfect. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna give myself a week. I worked with my buddy who lived like 15 minutes from me in Vermont, and we just recorded all
Right.
the tunes for the week, and just didn't do
So
much with them.
beautiful.
Put them out. Thank you. Yeah, I was
It's a
so
gorgeous
proud of
EP.
that.
Yeah,
Thank you
as you
so much.
should be, man. Is there a song on there that means the most to you?
I think the song that means the most to me would probably be "A Troubled Mind," because I wrote that song in a time when I
Mhm.
was like so. When you feel like you're never gonna, feel like you're never gonna write anything good again. You're just like, I don't think
Dude,
I can ever do this again. Like I suck,
yeah.
and
Dude,
like staring
yeah,
at a wall. And I wrote that song, and it felt like cool yeah, I don't know, to come out with it.
definitely. Well, it's a gorgeous song, and I definitely can relate to that feeling. Very, very much so. I think, like John Mayer once said, like a songwriter's only as good as his last song. And like
Hmm.
I like it's so crazy, man. You could just write like an unbelievable song 3 days ago, but then if like yesterday you just like went in the studio and sucked, for like 8 hours, like you just feel like you suck. It's like your memory just like can't fathom that it could be wrong, like, and it's a
Dude,
hard
it's
thing
so
to
the
fucking
short-term
deal with.
memory is crazy.
Feel that. So we kind of addressed this in a couple ways, but I just want to ask it in a different form of kind of what are you just like most proud of about your music that you've made so far?
Um, I think I'm proud the most of outside of like having it make a difference in someone's life potentially. I think just from like a personal growth perspective, like I feel like it's getting better, and that like is really really cool. It's so easy. My biggest fear is like being like making like releasing something cool and having everything else suck. Like that's it just is a terrible fear of mine. And so I feel like
Hmm.
getting making things get better and like having the songs get better is like a huge goal for me. So I think I'm getting close to achieving it, and um,
Totally.
I guess we'll see. But I think we're getting close. I'm getting close to achieving it. So that's what I'm most proud of. I think making things better.
Incredible, man. I love that. I think you kind of like forget that you can get better once you like do something like semi-successfully. I was talking about this with my manager. He's like, you're gonna like keep getting better if you just keep working at it. And there was a
Mm.
nice reminder of like, oh, like you know, just because I'm like starting to kind of have a little bit of success in something doesn't mean that I'm like I've peaked. Like I can still,
Yeah.
you know, do more and make more of a difference and write something that I like more than the stuff I've already written. So I feel that very
Not even
much
close
so.
to peaking, bro. And it's like, yeah, it's like you said, like success is not a determinant of whether or not you're getting better. It just means like sometimes you'll like
Totally.
have a really successful song. Like I have better songs than that. A lot of people just listen to this one for whatever reason. Like things happen. Like you have to have your own personal success, and you also have to look at the success of like your in the universe of like music consumption. You know.
Totally. No,
How about
I
you?
think that's a smart way of looking at it. Definitely a good approach. Question 17, what advice would you give to just a kid in Vermont that wants to get to where you're at right now?
Um. Okay. If you go to Hanover High School and look behind the turf field, I buried a handle of vodka there in 2014. And
We'll
uh,
take it.
if I had any advice for a young songwriter,
It's
man,
not
it's just
bad advice.
yeah. We'll edit that out. We'll edit that out. We'll edit that out.
We're keeping everything in.
No, unfiltered. If I had any advice, it would be to just continue like write every day. I mean, it's a muscle, man, and like even if it's like I said earlier, like we talked about, even if it feels like shit, like you are gonna be getting better and you're gonna be improving, and like don't set your standards up here. Like set small goals to yourself and be proud of yourself when you achieve those goals, and then uh, keep an eye on your growth. Don't give up when on a bad day. I mean, there's just like anything in life, you just have to keep working at it. I think so.
Yeah,
Um,
dude.
it's hard as shit, and I wish anyone trying to do this the best, and I hope that you guys have
Dude,
happiness
I
in your
feel
life.
like I usually give like fairly similar advice, and I think you touched on something that's really important. And I like to kind of break it down. I've said this before, but break it down into like when you're working on like your songwriting, you really got to be working on two skills. You got to be working on like your songwriting, which is like your craft and like your voice and like how you want to, you know, say the things you think into the world. And then you also have to work on like writing songs. And I think that's where the muscle part comes in of just like
Yeah,
feeling comfortable in the process. And that is definitely a quantity thing. And you got to just write and write and write until you kind of feel comfortable, you know, like finishing songs and really taking them home. So I feel that
100%,
very much.
hundred
Um,
percent.
question 17. What do you do? Sorry, where am I? Or question 18, my bad. What do you do with your time outside of music? And do you have any like professional aspirations with any of those hobbies?
Oh, great question. Well, I got a dog this year, and like that has been like my main thing, like in my life. Like my dog is like my best friend, and I spend a lot of time training her and walking her, and like pretty much just hanging out in the dog. Like sometimes I'll find myself
Hmm.
just like having a long conversation, and like my dog's just like sitting there, like sleeping. I'm like, dude, am I just fucking talking to my dog right now? So like, pretty much being a dog owner is definitely like a full-time job. I play a lot of soccer. I play a little bit of basketball, as you've seen. I'm not great. I'm better at
That's for
soccer.
sure. We got to get up. We
And
got to get up on the soccer field too. Then.
I know, dude. No, I can't have you come out here and embarrass me in all my fucking hobbies, bro. Like
Oh
you're good
my
at
God,
music,
let's
good at
go.
basketball. You're not allowed to play soccer. I'll take you golfing. I'll take you golfing. Are you good at golfing?
Let's go.
You
If you
golf?
want it, yeah, a little bit.
What don't you do, dude? Let's go
We should
fucking
do a day.
together.
We should do a day where we like write a song, like hoop, play soccer, and get 18 in. Just
That'd be
it'd be the
hilarious.
most exhausting day of all time.
Yeah, dude. That'd be yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. So just pretty much like I like play a lot of sports. I love to cook. I love cooking Mexican food.
Nice.
Um, and then yeah, just kind of normal like 24-year-old stuff. Like I like watch TV, play video games, same
Drink
old.
beer.
Drink a lot
Yeah,
of beer. Sometimes I'll write poetry, and that's pretty much it, man. Just
nice,
normal
dude. I
shit.
love,
It's nice. It's important to have balance, bro. Important to have
dude.
balance.
I feel that so much. I think I talk to some artists sometimes who are just like, yeah, all I do is like make music and stuff. And
Hmm.
if that works for you, that's great, of course. But like for me, it's always been so important to just do like a million other things and just like give my
Totally.
brain a break from the music shit for a little bit because it can be draining, which we'll get to right now. Question number 19: who do you call when you're having a particularly shitty day? Is there like a person that can kind of like uh, be there for you in a capacity that really matters?
If I'm having a really bad day, I'll either call my mom or my girlfriend. They're both kind of function in the same way where they give me I have like a very specific way my brain works that they've like kind of figured out, and they know how to like
Hmm.
navigate the intricacies of my concerns and my anxiety, and like I can't do that on my own. And so their help is really important. I'm always so super grateful for them. And yeah,
Love
family,
that.
friends. It's nice to talk to other artists too. Like I think sometimes it's hard to be vulnerable with another artist and be like, this is what I'm going through with my music right
Mhm.
now or my life, and because you don't want to like expose yourself to somebody who can eventually like manipulate
Totally.
that in a way. It's like a,
But they're
you know,
inevitably feeling the same way or have at some point. Like, yeah.
exactly.
So,
So I have
but
like
I
a
but I
pretty
feel
good,
you.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
nice. Well, I love that, and it's nice to have that kind of support network. What else do you do to kind of like maintain your mental health? Because like, it is like definitely there's just a lot of volatility with like being an artist, concerning like mental health and stuff. Just like there's so much inconsistency. Like, do you have any best practices that you've found really help kind of regulate that side of you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I've been going to like therapy my whole life. I haven't this year been seeing a therapist because I've been moving around and haven't found one. But I know I need to get one. I think therapy is really important, man. Like I just think you have to say, like, if
Nice.
you're going through something, like talking to somebody who's licensed and professionally trained and like dealing with these problems, like it's so important, and you can't overstate how crucial that can be for someone's mental health. So going to therapy. You can try medication if that's the right thing for you. Talk to your doctor. Um, Taking vitamins is great. I think honestly, like not to sound like a Joe Rogan type beat, but like taking vitamins and like get sunlight and like get outside,
Gotta get
exercise,
outside.
eat
Gotta
well,
exercise.
man.
Yeah.
If you're eating fucking nerds ropes and McDonald's, dude, you're gonna feel like shit. Like go out, eat a salad if you can, eat some protein. Like I mean,
Hmm.
yeah. So trying to just to be healthy, man, and deep breathing, meditation. There's so many good things. I think there's not one easy answer. So trying to like give yourself the best chance you can to be happier and to feel better is something that I think is crucial.
Totally. I agree with all those. I think they're all super great points. All right. Question 21. We're getting near the end here. What can we expect from you musically in this coming year?
Great question. I have a few different things going on. I have a album that will be coming out in the next definitely within before the year's up.
Oh, yeah.
It's fully recorded and being mastered. It's a it's like more upbeat, which I'm excited about. I mean, the lyrics are still just awful and depressing, but it like kind of has some tempo to it, which I'm pumped about because I just feel like what people need this year is a little bit of tempo, man. Like we're getting vaccinated, the world is
Love it.
coming back. Let's
Yeah,
turn
we're
up.
coming back. I agree. Turn up. I'm with that.
Yeah.
Dude, you
So
got to
that
send it
and
to
I'm,
me.
yeah, I absolutely will. I absolutely will. And then if you have any criticism, just keep them to yourself, okay?
Yeah,
I
I'll,
want to
I'll
hear
just,
it.
I'll just write them down and throw them out.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yep.
And then I have like a folk project that I'm working on as well. That's kind of more of the Cape Elizabeth vibe, more
Cool.
narrative based. That I'm really excited about. That I'm still kind of fleshing out. It's like my baby, so I'm taking a lot of
Oh,
time with it.
nice,
But
dude. Well, I'm equally excited to hear both of those, man.
thanks, dude.
That's awesome. All right. Question 22 is when are we hooping again, man? It's been too long, but you're back in LA and I'm not. I'm in Miami, but I might have to cut my trip short just to come back and just work you one more time.
I don't want to, dude. You're good, bro. You obviously know how to play the game. I like learned to play like 2 years ago, and like I was happy making progress, and I was like starting to hit some mid-range Sean Livingston
Dude,
type
but
shots.
when you told me that you only really started playing 2 years ago, you're like very, very, very good for 2 years. Like you're like you actually really play. I think it's just because you're like an athlete and you just like,
Yeah, I
if
grew up
you
playing
like
sports.
play
I'm just
sport, yeah,
saying,
if you grew up play, yeah, you can pick some shit up. But
you
all
got
right, dude.
handles though, bro. I'm scared. You got to play the same team against your buddies. Like again, it's too. I'd be too scared to play against them by myself. It's just not my vibe.
Okay, I
Like
love it. We
I
could
will not be
definitely
able to
work
look.
that. We could
I
work.
won't hit you up again. Like I won't be able to talk to you. Like, I'll trash you in the media, bro. Like I can't get beat by you.
Dude, please, I need that little controversy. I'm looking for it.
Yeah, let's
Um,
manufacture some controversy, dude.
dude, yeah. I don't think there's a genre of music that people want controversy from less than what the kind of music we make.
Alexander 23, Noah
I don't
Legion.
think I don't think they're looking for it. But question
Rainy Day
20
Chill playlist controversy, bro.
yeah, exactly. Question 23 is do you have a question for me?
I do. Well, I mean, I feel like you've been involved in so much collaboration this year. Like you've done a lot of collabs. I absolutely love the collab you did with Quinn. You've released a ton of music. Um, I want to know like what's your process when it comes to producing your own ideas? Like how much control do you like to have over your own final product? Like I I hear all your songs are all produced yourself. Is there a way you like to collaborate, or do you kind of like having that production control and that songwriting control? Like where do you stand with that?
Yeah, dude. I'm kind of feel like I'm at. It's funny you ask now because I'm kind of at an inflection point of my like approach on that. Like up until now, like it's been unbelievably important for me to just make pretty much everything by myself.
Hmm.
Um, and I think maybe I don't know why. Like I'm definitely like a control freak when it comes to my music, as I think you are in a lot of ways as well. In a good way. So that sounded mean, but um,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I feel myself for the first time in a while kind of opening back up my process and working with other writers and producers, and it's been really exciting. And I don't know if that means that like, you know, the next wave of music is going to be stuff that I've co-written and co-produced, or maybe I just need to like have those experiences to then go by, you know, myself and make stuff that I'm super proud of. But yeah, I think I finally, you know, maybe it's an ego thing, but I've like finally proved to myself that I can do it by myself, and I think that was an important kind of step for me.
Yeah, yeah, making that different, like, differentiating your mind, like, hey, I'm able to do this, but it's also important to like have the
Yeah.
collaboration. Like, it could be really useful. I totally feel that, and I mean, man, like the stuff you release is so great, and the production is so you. Like, I can understand why you don't want to, like taint that in any way. But I'm excited to see like what collaboration brings you, and like I'm excited to see your ceiling,
Well,
bro. Because
thank you,
I
man.
love it. I really do. I think it's great.
Damn, thank you, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for doing this. You're just you fucking crack me up, man. And then every time you get on Instagram Live, I can't believe how just like good at fucking singing and songwriting you are. So it was an honor to have you on, and hopefully I'll see you in LA really soon.
All right, man. Enjoy your trip. Have fun, dude. Thanks again for doing this. Take care.
For sure.
Later, bro.